On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we talk some OU football by giving you our most important question for each position group heading into training camp. In Football Guys Talkin Basketball, we discuss what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's extension means for the Thunder, and we finish up giving you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Thursday, August 5th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games, with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And every night from 6 p.m. to midnight, August 1st through 27th, you can win your share of $300,000 in cash prizes and bonus play in Riverwind's $300,000 Riverwind Winiversary. That is a lot of money. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com, Riverwind Casino, simply the one. Now, we're recording this Wednesday night. Please leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment while you're at it. And Teddy, we have a first on the podcast. We received a request that we have never received before, and it was funny. We received a direct message to the podcast account, and someone asked us how much it costs for us to wish someone a happy birthday on the podcast. And I almost said like $1 million just to be a smart ass, but instead I said $0. So for the first time ever, we will be giving a birthday shout out. I felt like that was, I mean, since it's the first one, I don't know how many more of them we're going to do, but
yeah, if it turns into a thing, then maybe there's something, but it's easy enough, man. Birthday shout out.
Yeah, it was a guy looking for a birthday shout out for his dad. Said his dad is a loyal listener, doesn't miss an episode. His birthday was August 2nd. Mike Perry. Yeah, you, Mike. Happy 50th birthday, big guy. We're very proud of you. Congrats to making it to 50, and thank you for listening to the show.
How about that? Kudos to the son, right? For thinking about pops, and 50, 50 is a big number. I'll be 40 this year, Gabe. November. I'll be 40.
We're going to have to do something cool. 40, that's a big one.
Let's not do anything big or draw any attention to it. I'd like to forget that it's happening, please.
Yeah, I'm sure your wife will not do anything big for it.
There's no telling what'll happen.
Good luck with that. But happy birthday, Mike Perry.
Awesome.
Thanks for the support. And I will always wonder what dollar figure I could have thrown out to Mike's son to, I wonder what he would have paid.
Well,
probably $50, probably.
Which we're going to learn, or our listeners will learn in a future episode from Trevor Knight. You cannot set your market value too low, Gabe. Okay. Once you go low, you can never go up.
That's true. So we have talked a lot of realignment. We've talked a lot of OU to the SEC, how we're excited about it, what could happen because of it. And Ted, I think we've talked enough about it.
We've hit a stalling point too. Like we've covered everything. We've pretty much speculated all the things that you could speculate on, and we've got no real new movement. So yeah, we do have a season this year that we need to focus on.
Yeah. So we made the executive decision. It's back to football. The podcast, we're going back to talking ball, and a programming note. We will not be recording next week. However, we have already recorded 2 interviews for you guys, so we won't be missing any episodes next week. We're going to take a week off. Look at us, Ted.
Whew, you got to charge the battery before the big run up of the season, right?
Yeah. So we've got an interview with Phil Steele, who puts out the College Football Bible every year. He's picked OU to win the national championship. So we talked to Phil all about that. And then, Teddy, you mentioned it. We've got the man, Trevor Knight. A lot of great stories about his career, some stories that people have never heard. We get a Katy Perry update. I mean, they're both great interviews, but the one with Trev, I think people are really going to enjoy that.
No, I agree. Both of them good. You get tons of information, obviously, from Phil Steele, but it was cool to talk to Trevor and get some behind the scenes, of what it was like going to A&M, some NFL stuff. So yeah, fantastic.
If you want to sponsor the podcast during football season, which is right around the corner, please email us at theoklahomabreakdown@gmail.com, and we will get you all the details. All right, let's get to the OU football stuff, Ted. And this was your idea, so I want to give you credit. OU football training camp starts in what? Is it Friday or is it Thursday? Friday?
Well, I think media day, like they report Thursday, hit some media stuff, probably meetings in the evening, and then I think they get out at Friday.
So with camp starting this week, we wanted to look at the most important question for every position group for OU heading into training camp. And we're going to start on the offensive side of the ball because everyone knows offense is most important. And
right.
You and I, we decided we were going to do this, but we did not collaborate in any way. So we didn't share each other's lists. So there could be a lot of crossover, or it could be completely different. We're going to see how this goes. You ready?
Let's do it.
Quarterback. So really, my number one question for OU's quarterback room is who's going to be the third string quarterback, but that's really boring. So I'm just going to go with, can Spencer Rattler become elite? Elite. I mean, live up to all of the expectations. Can he be the guy? Can he be a Baker Mayfield? Can he be a Kyler Murray? We've seen flashes of it, but he's got to string together 4 quarters of it for every single game for an entire season. That's how you become the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. So there's no doubt in my mind Rattler's going to be the starter. Caleb Williams is going to be the backup. We'll see who the third string quarterback is. I don't know if it'll be Mike Bones. I don't know. I think that battle is going to be fought out in camp, but that's my number 1 question for the quarterback room, Ted, is can Spencer Rattler take that next step and be an elite player? Not good, elite.
Yeah. And it's a good question. I mean, a lot of folks have picked him to do exactly that. It's not easy to be a Heisman front runner going into a season, and that's where he's at right now. So yeah. And here's the thing, if they're going to hit the goals that I know they're setting for themselves, he's going to have to be elite. That's just what it takes these days to win semifinal games and to win national championships. You got to have elite quarterback play. So yeah. For me, my question for the quarterback room is Rattler focused, and it's, can he handle success? Last year was interesting. Whenever things go bad, it's easy to turn everything inward, to work on yourself, to focus on yourself, to not say a whole lot, to show up, do your job, and get better. And Rattler took a couple of losses early. He got taken out of the Texas game. He had some humble pie early in his career, right? Which that happens. It's not a bad thing as a guy first starting off, redshirt freshman, to be expected. Finishes off the season really well. Now he's a Heisman frontrunner. Now he's signing endorsement deals. Now they're picked by some people number 1 in the country, some people number 2. Most everyone has them making the playoff. Like there's a lot that's coming at him right now as far as being that one of those number 1 guys in the country. And how's he going to handle that? Is he going to keep the head down, focus, show up, work, try and earn more respect from his teammates like he did last year? I think he will, but I think there's also maybe a little bit of I've arrived. I've made it. I've got it. I've already got all the attention. Everything that I've done has got me to this place. Like I'm good. And at that point, that's when everything's can go bad for you, because it's not a race to see who's the best. Day 1, September. It's who can improve the most between September and December. So I'm just curious. Now, everything that I've heard, everything that I've witnessed would lead me to believe that he's going to be able to handle it fine, but you just never know. You just never know. And I think that's going to be something that's pretty telling this year, because a lot of that has to do with the locker room too. It's kind of weird to show up and you're he was the quarterback last year, but he wasn't the leader of the offense. I never felt like, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of a different feeling. Now he's going to be the leader of the offense as a returning starter, as a guy that had a full off season with those guys. And I'm just interested to see how he handles it.
Yeah. And also you factor in the distractions, right, that are going to be in play, with the new NIL stuff. Now, I think he's handled that stuff well up to this point, and you don't see him doing a bunch of interviews. You don't see him doing a bunch of things where he's pitching his stuff, and I'm sure Lincoln has a lot to do with that, but it does seem like he is still focused, which we'll see. And with what we heard about his progress in the spring, we're expecting big things. Okay, running back. So my biggest question for the running back room is, will they get a significant contribution from a third back? And more specifically, can Trey Bradford be a contributor? Can he be a big factor for this football team as the third back? Because you've got Kennedy Brooks, you've got Eric Gray. Those 2 guys are going to be the featured guys, but running back is a very physical position. We've seen in the past, you have a couple of backs get banged up, and all of a sudden you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, who are they going to put in, when you only feel like you've got 2 main backs. One of those guys goes down. All of a sudden, a lot of those personnel groups that Lincoln Riley likes to use, they go away. So can Trey Bradford be a significant contributor at RB3? Because with some of the things we're hearing, it's going to have to be him.
Yeah. If you have any type of attrition at that position, especially some of the stuff that OU does with split backs and 2 guys out there at the same time, Lincoln likes to have a multi-back system. As the season goes on, he does start to narrow in on one guy, but he likes to split carries as much as he can and keep the workload as light as possible on the backfield. So yeah, if you don't have a third guy, because here's the thing, man, in college football, you're gonna suffer some type of losses throughout the season, injury, behavior, whatever it might be. And if you're not running back's like the perfect position, as physical as that one is, I mean, you're a couple plays away from being on that number 3 guy, like in a hurry. Yeah. Right? You lose a guy to an injury in a game, and your next back helmet pops off whenever he's blocking a guy. Well, number 3 back's out there on the field. Maybe it's 3rd and 10, so you've got to have multiple guys that are ready. And that 3rd back, you could say you're only as good as your 3rd running back, because at some point you're going to be there with him. So yeah, that's going to be huge for me. Whenever I look at the running back room, I think Eric Gray looks fantastic. I think Kennedy Brooks in the past has looked fantastic. I think the tale of the running back room is going to be told by what Kennedy Brooks do we have this year. If we get 8 yards of carry Kennedy Brooks from 2 seasons ago, we got no worries. We're going to skate through this conference. We're going to win the Big 12 easily, and we are going to be a massive, massive threat in the playoff. If that Kennedy Brooks isn't there, and like you said, maybe the 3rd back, and when I say isn't there, I mean he's not playing at that level that he was 2 years ago, and we do have problems finding a 3rd guy that's dependable, then it could be tough. It could be tough on that running back room in the running game, and it's something that we definitely have to have better than was a year ago.
Yeah, and when you think about maybe a lack of depth at running back, it's not like Rattler is a guy that they want to run a lot at the quarterback position either. So that running back room staying healthy, Trey Bradford stepping up, learning the system, becoming comfortable throughout training camp will be huge. Okay, for wide receiver, my question is pretty simple. I think the biggest question for that room, will Jaden Hazelwood become who he was supposed to be? I mean, bottom line, is he going to be a dude, or is he just a guy? It's that simple for me. He came in with all the hype in the world, and I know he had the injury last year, some bad luck, but let's be real. He really hadn't done anything. That has to change. He has to be a difference maker. And if it isn't him, if he's not that guy, then who's it going to be? Is it Mike Woods? I don't know, but that's my biggest question. Will Jaden Hazelwood be who he was supposed to be?
Yeah. I'll say this. The end of last season, whenever he came back, you could tell he wasn't right, didn't necessarily trust it, coming off of that ACL. And I'll even say in spring ball, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because that's right at a year from his ACL, right? But I got to tell you, man, I don't know how fast, explosive. I don't know if he's that type of guy. Like some of the things that I've seen, he does not look like an explosive athlete.
I think I don't think he was ever like blazing fast, but I think before the injury, like the things some of the guys on the staff were telling me about him, they're like, dude, this kid, he's going to have a massive year. I have not heard anything close to that about him since.
Yeah.
It's like he hasn't gotten back to where he was as an athlete.
Dude, it's tough, man. You miss that much time though, especially in a room that's got as much talent as the wide receiver room. Like once you get passed over, it's hard to claw that back, man. And yeah, I'm with you. I think that is a big question. For me, it's who's going to be the breakout star. And maybe this group is going to be deep enough to where we don't necessarily have one. Last year, you could say Mims maybe was the breakout star, but he and Theo Weiss had the exact same amount of catches. He did have 9 touchdowns to Weiss, I think, had 4. But, I mean, he was a freshman. I don't necessarily consider that breakout. And I know some of the statistics don't carry over because the amount of games and stuff, but right, who's going to be the 1,000-yard, 1,200-yard receiver that catches 75 balls and has 15 plus touchdowns, because we've pretty consistently had a guy like that. I think you'd have to go with Mims as a place to start. Mario Williams is getting a lot of accolades, a lot of people talking about him, but Mike Woods was pretty dang good at Arkansas, and he's probably going to step in and find a way to get some shares of the receptions as well. But I'm interested to see, because I feel like this offense will be at its best if they have that breakout star. I totally believe that they're going to be good across the board and have a better year than they did last year, but we need more of those explosive plays.
Right. They can't just be good. Right. I mean, you look at teams that have won the national championship or played for it lately. You got to have great quarterback play, and you've got to have a couple of studs at wide receiver. So whether it's going to be Mims, Theo Weiss, if he can take another step, if Mario Williams can be that special that quickly, they haven't seen Mike Woods play yet, so that's it. I'm going to be interested to see what they have to say about him a week or two in camp, see what they think. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year at wide receiver. And looking at tight end, my big question is Austin Stogner capable of being a dominant player in college football? You just mentioned who's going to be that 1,000-yard type guy, who's going to be like, I'm not sure Stogner's got that in him, but can he be a guy that has 10 touchdowns, has 700 yards receiving, is a huge threat in the red zone? Like, can he be a guy that brings that type of production, and as a result of that opens up plays for other guys at wide receiver, because they just have to show him so much attention in some situations? Clearly the health is the most important thing, coming back off the scary leg deal. But that's my question for tight end is, can he be a dominant college football player? Can he, maybe he doesn't get to the Mark Andrews level, but can he get somewhere close to that? If he can get to that level, that's going to make this offense very, very, very difficult to defend.
Yeah. It's crazy. I was watching some highlights recently I can't remember why, but it was when Mark Andrews was his final year. He was huge out there. And I don't know if for whatever reason I just forgot, but he looks like a giant on the field. It's pretty cool. And I think Stogner could be that type of guy, and that's really the question is he going to take the next step? Last year, he was having a good productive year, but he needs to take the next step. And that's what you're talking about, is an elite level tight end at OU. We're talking about a high draft pick type of tight end. He's got the measurables. He's got a new coach and Joe John Finley that I think is going to take his blocking and attitude there to the next level. The other part of it is there's got to be a willingness from the offensive coordinator to get him that involved. And that happens through practice, through training camp, through showing that you can do it and be that type of guy that makes those plays. So that's it. Is he going to be an elite All-American Mackey Award candidate type of player? And if you want to throw another one in there, I feel like there's a chance that maybe Braden Willis has, I'm not going to say he's going to have a breakout season, but I feel like he could be a decent part of that offense when they start doing some of that two tight end stuff, which they were doing quite a bit last year.
Braden Willis is the best athlete in the room.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
And he's got a new number, man. Let's go.
Yeah, single digit. You have to play well if you're wearing a single digit at tight end. That's
right.
the rules.
Yep.
So we'll see. And also, Jeremiah Hall talked to him about it at Big 12 Media Day. He said he's going to be lining up in some different spots this year. So maybe the Bullfrog has a breakout year as a pass catching weapon. Ted, you never know.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing if that happens.
When he was telling me, I was like, "That's awesome, man!" And in my head, I was like, "Is that awesome?" Okay, offensive line. We've clearly talked about this being the biggest question mark, certainly on the offense for us, but on the entire football team, and how I think this group can take this team to the next level, or it can hold the team back. And I still think that's true. But just looking at the O-line group specifically, my number one question is, who's the center? And I know I played center, and I may be a little biased, but if you do not get good leadership and good play at that position, it's hard to have a good offensive line, man. It just is. And it all starts with the mental component of things. That guy getting everybody on the same page and making sure that everyone's going the right place. So who is that guy going to be? I think there's two candidates. I think it's Andrew Rame or Chris Murray. And if Rame can get stronger, it sounds like he's had a good summer too. If he can get stronger, I think that he's got the mental part of the position down. If Chris Murray, who is a physical player, I like the attitude he plays with, if he can get better with the mental component of things, which is what sounds like held him back in the spring, then I think both guys can be solid. Are either of them going to be Creed Humphrey? No. But I can tell you from experience, you don't have to have an early round draft pick at center. You could get by just fine. Believe me.
That's true.
But it certainly helps.
When's the last time you remember being this close to the season and OU not being sure who the center is going to be?
I have no idea.
That position has been locked down for
decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why that's such a huge concern.
Yeah. I mean, you go back to Coop. Yeah, no, it's been, and Vince Carter before that.
Bubba Bertram before that.
There's been some solid, consistent play at the position, and you always knew who the guy was going into the year.
It may be oddly the most consistent position OU's had over the last 25 years.
There was like the year like Alvarez, we weren't sure if he was going to be the center. You know, there was that type of stuff. We're blowing it. We're blowing it a little out of proportion. That happened. We can't forget it. It's not like Eric Wren was coming in with a stranglehold on the position before that year.
That's right.
It's been a little bit.
There's been some of those.
Yeah.
But well, that does make you a little bit scared, but at the same time, confident that they're going to find the dude and there's going to be a dude there, right? I mean, like, I don't know who wins the battle, but you feel pretty confident that whoever ends up earning that spot's going to be good. For me, offensive line, it's where's the running game? Do we get the running game back? Last year, 4.5 yards a carry, something like that. I think for the first time in a long time, we didn't lead the Big 12 in rushing. Numbers way down. And I think that has some to do with like the style of offense that we ran a year ago. It's not necessarily the end of the world that we're not running it for 8 yards a carry. Okay. I like the way we played offense last year. I think it helped out our defense, but we didn't have a run of over 30 yards until like the last game of the season or something crazy like that. We got to get that running game to where it's back. It's more consistent. We're so used to seeing guys all the way up to the second and third level before they even encounter any type of resistance carrying the football. And Maybe it's because our run game is we haven't had anything really new in a while, but teams are playing it way different, way more physical, way more downhill, and we've had some trouble with it. We got to get that running game back going, and it's going to take an offensive line that's all playing together as one unit, talented, to be able to get it done.
All I want, and I pray for this every night, Ted, you know I do. All I want is for them to run more outside zone. That's all I want. That's all I want. It's the best play in football.
I can't wait till the first time it happens this season and you're going to come in from the sideline. Outside zone, let's go.
I'm just going to be crying. Oh, my God. It's beautiful. Yeah. No,
hey, man, but here's the thing. Outside zone and boot, some of the oldest stuff in football, it's back, baby. It's back in a big way. Back in the NFL, back in college football, SEC's running a bunch of that. Sark, we're going to see it at Texas. So I hope we see it too.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the defensive side of the ball, let's talk money. First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information, and make sure you send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join, and as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. Okay, let's start D-line first. My number one question is, who is going to be the disruptor other than Perion Winfrey? I am 100% confident with what we saw last year and what I've heard about him this year, that guy is going to be an absolute problem in the interior defensive line for Oklahoma. My question is, who else is going to do that? Is it going to be Ellison? Is it going to be Jordan Kelly? Who else can play at that type of level to where when they're rotating guys or when they've got multiple interior defensive linemen on the field, will there be one guy that the other team will target and they'll just run away from Perion? Can they get another guy to play like a complete badass? Maybe it's Jalen Redmond. Maybe it's him. But I know Perion Winfrey's going to bring it. My question is, who else is going to bring it at that level?
Yeah. And there's some good candidates. Redmond, beast, if he can put it all together. I think
I've had a few people tell me that if Redmond stays healthy and plays up to kind of what they're expecting from, that he's the most talented guy in the room.
Which is insane. Because if he plays at the level he's capable of, and Perion Winfrey does, and Isaiah Thomas does, and Nick Benito does, it's going to be hard to find a better four in the country. They should be right there with everyone else. And that's my thing with the defensive line. 12.5 sacks. Can we have a guy get over that number? If we have a guy get over 12.5 sacks, that is elite territory that is first round draft pick territory. If Perion Winfrey has 12 and a half sacks, he's going to be a first round pick. If Isaiah Thomas has 12 and a half sacks, he's going to be at the end of the first, early second type of pick. That's the number. If we get a couple guys around that number, we're talking about having a defensive lineman taken in the first round. In how long has it been?
Since Gerald, right?
Gerald? Yeah. That's it.
Damn, it's
12 and a half sacks.
All right, defensive line, no pressure.
I think Perion Winfrey can do it. If you go back and watch the film last year and see how many times he had someone like in his grasp, or he beat someone and flushed a quarterback to where Benito like tackled him right there as he was trying to escape.
Or Brock Purdy's thrown out of the end zone in the Big 12 championship game and he jumps instead of just sacking him.
I'm telling you, he's there, man. He's there. 12 and a half. That's the number. That's the elite number. And we're talking about having a chance of getting a player in the first round.
Yeah. Okay. Linebacker. My question is, I don't know if this is the best way to put it, but who's going to end up getting left out? Because Ted, you've talked about just the level of competition in that room for snaps is going to be, it's going to be significant, right? And you look at Deshaun White, Asamoah, Agwebu, Witter, like you can't have them all on the field at once. And I don't know exactly how many of them you can play. Like, can you realistically rotate 6 inside backers in a game? It's probably not something Odom wants to do, but who's going to, maybe the better way to put it is who's going to separate themselves. And we'll see. But that's one of the most interesting things, like on the whole team for me, is to see how backer shakes out. Yeah.
Mine is just it's the same question, just phrased differently. It's time to take the next step. Asamoah is
that's not a question. That's a statement. Who will take the next step is a question. This was your idea. You said the number one question for each position.
Well, yes, I guess it's who's going to take the next step, but I said it's time to take the next step. Asamoah has fallen into the dangerous territory of this guy's got a lot of talent. When someone repeatedly says how much talent somebody has, at some point, it's no longer a compliment, right?
Right.
And Asamoah is dangerously close to that spot. He's played really good football, but he's not playing the football that he's capable of. This is the year he needs to really unlock all of that potential, play with all of that speed, with that explosiveness on a consistent level. If he does, all conference type of player, and if this team is playing unbelievable football, who knows what that could end up meaning. Agwebu, not that he's making excuses or anyone's making excuses for him, but he transitioned to a new position, right? There's a grace period that you get to get in there, fully grasp it, fully understand it, fully get all of the techniques. He's through that now. It's time to take that next step. He's got the size, he's got the length, he's got the speed to be an elite linebacker in college football. It's time to go out there and do it and have it show up routinely, not just a flash here and there. It needs to show up routinely. And you're right. The guys on the second team or third team, we've got so much depth. I'm worried about it being an issue because you're right. You can't rotate 6 guys through. and I haven't heard this, but I'm worried that at some point, whenever you're that deep, that guys are going to want to go play football somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, that's definitely a concern. I mean, when you have that type of depth at a position, I mean, that's what the transfer portal is for. Like, let's just be real. It's called how we see it.
I think Witter has a chance to be unbelievable. I think Deshaun White gives you great leadership, great experience, can play both positions without even thinking about it. You've got great depth there. Stutzman, the young freshman, has had a good summer, big kid, competitive kid. They're not waiting on him. It's like, we want you to compete, try and go in our job. So it's going to be fun to watch that group. But the two guys, Aguebu and Asamoah, it's time to flip the switch and start playing elite level football. And I think they're both totally capable.
It's funny you mentioned when someone said, "Oh man, I mean that dude's just so athletic." What you want them to say is, "That dude can play."
Right.
That's what you want. There's an offensive line equivalent to that, and it's guy's smart. He's smart. That's the O-line equivalent to, he's an athlete. No matter where you are on the field, the first thing you want your coach to say is that dude can play.
Yep.
He's athletic.
All encompassing. Right.
Yes.
If they give you a compliment one way or the other, it means you're either dumber than a box of rocks or you can't get it done physically. Right. Yeah. It's one or the other.
If they're saying anything other than that dude could play, they wish you were a better player.
I mean, when it clicks, with this guy, when it clicks, it's funny.
Okay, looking at let's look at the defensive backs as a whole, because my question is kind of for safety and corner and nickel, whatever position you want to look at. And it's pretty simple for me. The most important question for that entire group in the back end is, will talent overtake experience on the depth chart? Will the young, talented guys like Key Lawrence, like Joshua Eaton, Justin Harrington, even though I guess he's not that young, but young in the OU program, Billy Bowman, DJ Grant, will those guys show enough in camp consistently to get playing time over more experienced players? Because, Ted, it's not a mystery. They're looking for the new body type. Will those guys show enough in camp to be the first guys on the field in the fall? Or is it going to be Pat Fields? Is it going to be De'Aaron Turner-Yell? And I think Turner-Yell sounds like he had just one of the best off seasons of anybody in the entire program. But that's my question. Will talent overtake experience on the depth chart?
Yeah, there's some spots with great young talent. A corner, Latrell McCutcheon, that has a chance to earn a spot. On the back end, safety is a little bit different. It's one of those spots where, like linebacker or D-line or wide receiver. I mean, there's a lot of spots where he's young, he's not totally consistent on the mental aspect of it, but man, what he gives you athletically, you got to get him out there and give him some reps. Safety is a little bit different. It's called safety for a reason. You can't have guys out of position, not understanding, motions and shifts and how to move things around, and have to absolutely know everyone's responsibility, not just yours. So safety is one of those where you can't just throw a guy out there. He's got to be totally ready to do it. And I think Turner-Yell is going to be great this year. I think the question mark is at the other spot. Pat Fields, Key Lawrence, Jordan Mukes, who's it going to be out there? And I bet it's going to be some combination of all of those guys. Key Lawrence has a chance to be, an extraordinary talent. So I'm with you. It's if that young talent shows up and could be depended on, secondary is going to be really good. My question is, are we finally going to have a game changer at nickel? Nickel is, in this defense, it's hard to say it's the most important position, but if you have a difference maker there, it can change the entire defense. The nickel is going to be asked to do a bunch of things: play safety, blitz, insert in the run fit, cover a slot man-to-man, cover a tight end man-to-man. You may be covering Charlie Kohler in one game man-to-man. You may be covering a burner from Baylor in the next game man-to-man. It's you may be playing a deep third safety on one snap, blitzing off the edge on the other, being the edge support in the run game in the next play. So there's so much that they ask of these guys. If you have a game changer there that doesn't just play the position, Buki gets a ton of heat, but none of it is necessarily from like on-field stuff. It's like the extracurriculars, right? He was always in the right place. He understood the adjustments and the shifts. He knew how to fit the run. He could communicate well. He was a dependable nickel, but he wasn't a game changer. You know what I'm saying? His size held him back. If we can get a game changer there, it will totally reshape the way we look at this defense.
No pressure, Jeremiah Cradell, Billy
Bowman. Let's go, freshman. Let's
Come
get
on, freshman. Come on now. All right, for our Call Your Shot question, we asked the listeners number one question they had going into OU training camp. Our buddy Red Dirt Sport, God, I love his Twitter. He's fantastic, man. He says defensive back depth, specifically safety, rotation. Kind of just went through all that. I depth-wise, I think they feel really good just about the number of guys they feel like they are going to be able to put on the field in the back end, don't you?
Yeah. Yes. I think depth is more of a problem because they've got so many guys that are good than it is they don't have enough players, right? Defensive line, their rotation's going to be, I mean, there's a bunch of dudes that can play on that D line. They're going to be rotating a bunch of guys through. At backer, we talked about how deep they are. It's the same thing at corner. I mean, there's two guys on each side, maybe a third, that you could legitimately see starting. And the problem with all that is at some point you worry about guys not getting the development that they need or deserve because of what the rotation ends up looking like. So I would say right now, I'm not worried about depth at any of the positions defensively, but you never know what happens. You're not worried about depth until all of a sudden you are worried about it, right?
Right. And I mean, really, the worst case scenario at safety in my mind is you're starting Pat Fields and Delarian Turner-Yell, who are multi-year starters. Like, isn't that the worst case scenario? If we're talking about safety rotation, like that's like I think there's more talented guys that don't have their experience behind them. But if that's your worst case scenario, I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. We were talking about this on the show today, and I said, at a minimum, we're going to have B to B plus safety play. That's the bare minimum.
Yeah, maybe worst case scenario is not the best way to phrase that. That was not a good way of phrasing it. Yeah, right. At the minimum, that's a much better way of putting it.
Yeah, I think it's B or B plus safety play, but potentially, I think it could be A to A plus. I think Turner-Yell is going to be a dude out there this year, and I think like if Key Lawrence gets some consistency and athletically takes over that other spot, then we got a chance to look really different on the back end.
Yeah. And then Drew Gastineau said, can we develop the necessary chemistry and depth along the OL to chase down number 8? That's the key for me, but that's the key for me every season, Ted. It's always about the offensive line. You know that. You know that's the most important position in the entire sport, except for quarterback. But quarterbacks kind of are dependent on it. So you tell me what's the most important. You decide, I suppose.
Hey, it's weird. And I feel, because going off of the stuff that you've said, I feel like offensive line is probably the biggest question mark on the team. But there's also a chance that, by the end of the season, they're playing excellent football. Like that, it's not a weakness for this squad at all. If they get the right guys in the right spots and lock it down and get comfortable with their rotation, wherever the guys end up going, that they could end up having a really good offensive line. We had Dari Noka on recently. We were talking about the SEC, and he said it's a line of scrimmage league. Well, the semifinal and national championship, the college football playoff is a line of scrimmage tournament. And we haven't gone into that thing yet A+ on both sides. I think we'll be A+ defensively this year. If that group plays into an A+ group by the end of the year on the offense, that's going to tell the story right there of whether or not this team's going to be capable of winning a national championship.
Yes, and I will say it would be helpful if everyone in that offensive line room is available.
Don't you put any bad juju on this thing, Gabe. Don't you do that.
It would be helpful if they are all available to start the season. That would be helpful. Okay, let's get the Football Guys Talking Basketball. Couple Thunder updates, Ted. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has agreed to a 5-year, $172 million max rookie extension with the Thunder that will keep him in Oklahoma City for the next 6 seasons. That contract has a 30% escalator clause in it that can make it worth $207 million if he makes All-NBA. Thunder had to do it, right? Had to do it. He's that type of player now. If you look at the league, like on the totem pole of max contract players, where does he line up? I'm not entirely sure, but they had to do it. I mean, with what he showed last season, and I know that they shut him down and he only played 30-something games, but he had taken his game to another level. Now it is up to him to play up to that contract. And he was certainly playing at a really high level last year. But the real question for me is, okay, he's got the big contract now. Is he able to be that lead dog, right? Is he the guy that is going to lead the Thunder back to the playoffs, back to possibly going to the Western Conference Finals, things like that? And I think the jury's kind of still out on if he's that guy. But now he's getting paid like he's that guy. I'm very excited to see him play next year.
Yeah, I think it's crazy, first of all, that this is where these contracts have gone. It's amazing.
Really, it pays well to be good at basketball.
Good night. It pays good to be good at basketball. Not very long ago, paying a guy just off a rookie deal 172, possible 207 on a team that hasn't won jack squat would be insane. But that's the going rate now for a guy that's got a ton of upside that, could potentially be a breakout superstar in the league. He's improved year over year. I think that continues. It's still weird to look at that he's going to be making that much money, but it's that's the rate. I mean, they don't have a choice. I mean, if you're trying to build a winner here and you've got a guy that's on the roster right now that can be a 10-year plus player for you at a super high level, you got to lock him up.
Yeah, especially with it being Oklahoma City, right? Let's just be real. I mean, you're going to continue to struggle to attract big-time free agents. You have to keep players of SGA's caliber around, right? You got to pay him his money. And little trivia for you, Ted.
Okay.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last season. Now, once again, didn't play a ton of games, but he averaged 23.7 points per game, 5.9 assists per game. He shot 50.8% from the field and 41.8% from three. There's only one other player in NBA history that had those numbers in a season or better. What player?
What was the percentage again for
50.8 from the field, 41.8 from three.
And only one other player did that?
In a season. Now, once again, he only played 30-something games. So, but this is only one other player's done it over the course of a season.
Is it Steph Curry?
Larry Bird.
Really?
Larry Bird. I don't know. It comes from StatMuse. If that's not right, that's on you, StatMuse. I used your stat, gave you credit and everything. It better be right. Okay, Ted.
I thought, didn't KD do like the 50, 40, 90 deal?
Dude, I'm just reading the stat that I found on Twitter. Would you just leave me alone?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Just go with it. Just be excited. It means a lot that he signed the extension.
Whoa.
Yeah, there, that's what I was looking for. Okay, important question. What was your favorite memory from Kemba Walker's time with the Thunder?
My favorite part was when they hit send on that $40 million to his account to buy out his contract or however much it was.
Yeah, the numbers, like the details aren't out, but the Thunder.
It's got to be $40 million. He had 70 million left, right?
It's 73, I think.
Well, he's not going to go play for 10 in New York and lose money. So it has to equal like 35. If he's playing for 10, it has to be like 25 a year or something.
I am very interested to see when the details come out. Like, were they able to work in some sort of option, or like how did because
or maybe Oklahoma City was going to be so bad next year that he would take less money to be bought out. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see, but Sam Presti's pretty good at his job. And also, just a reminder, you have to spend a certain amount of money in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's known, and same thing in the NFL. It's known as the salary floor. You got to get there. So
that's right.
But sounds like Kemba's headed to the Knicks.
Which, just to back up a little bit, this is the big reminder that everyone was telling the NFL players when they went on strike about no salary cap. If there's no salary cap, there's also no floor, right? So sometimes players don't want it, but you better remember that if they don't have a cap on top, they don't have one on the bottom either.
Yeah. So Thunder basically got two protected first-round picks for Kemba. We'll see if those end up conveying down the line. But I guess the whole theory is that this will allow the young guards to play a lot this season. Dort, Teo Maladon, Josh Giddey, who they just took with the 6th pick, Trey Mann, the other first-rounder. It's going to be a young squad next season, Ted. It is going to be – and I'll say this, probably going to lose a lot of games, but if you're going to lose a lot, you better be entertaining. And I feel like this group could be one that, entertains us and gives us a little hope for the future, Teddy. I'm remaining optimistic.
Hey, I love it. I'm the good thing right now is my expectations could not be any lower. So, and that's actually a fine thing. I've gone through all the stages of tanking, right? Anger, fear, sadness. Now I've finally hit acceptance, and I think I'll be able to roll with it.
I'm Teddy, and I've accepted tanking. All right, let's get to our winners and losers of the week. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com. And guys, summer is here, and you know what that means, baby. It is hard seltzer season. And there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Will and Wiley Hard Seltzer from Coupe Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it by the pool, at the lake, and at the tailgate. It is made in Oklahoma, and it is absolutely delicious. Will and Wiley is customized for the Oklahoma lifestyle. Go find it right now in a store near you, and go follow them on social media at Will and Wiley. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, I thought about going with the sumo statue at the equine events at the Olympics that are scaring the horses. Have you seen that?
Yes. So funny.
I don't know why they did this, but for those who haven't seen it, that, in the horse jumping, they've got the big arena, the big, dirt arena, and they've got the different jumps set up. They decided to put a larger than life size sumo wrestler that's in his sumo stance right next to one of the jumps. And whenever the horses are running up to the jump, they slam on the brakes and get scared of the sumo wrestler statue. It's hilarious. So I thought about going with that statue. He's got to be a gold medal winner. But I got to go Trae Young. Oh, there it is.
If you watch on YouTube, there's the sumo statue.
Once they turn the corner and see that thong, they hit the brakes, man. I had to go with Trae Young. Unbelievable. The kid is going to make, same deal is SGA, but he's going to definitely hit that escalator. He's going to make $207 million playing basketball in the NBA. From Norman to Atlanta, my goodness. It's crazy. It's just crazy that he's done that much, that quick, and locked up that amount of money. It is insane.
He's too small.
Crazy.
He may be small, but that dude got a big bank account, son.
Big bank account.
I was very happy to see that, and we knew it was coming, right? And it's awesome to see. Not only is he an Oklahoma kid, he's an OU guy. I love seeing shit like that, man. It seems like his family's pumping a lot of money into the Norman community as well, giving it back.
They just did the groundbreaking on the what are they calling it? The Trae Young,
it's like
Young
Athletic
Family
Center or something.
Yeah. They copied it off of kind of what Kobe Bryant's deal was. It's going to be awesome. And good dude, good kid. It's just fantastic. I'm so happy for him. I'm jealous, but I'm happy for him.
Definitely jealous. There's no doubt, but maybe he would want to come on the podcast and talk about his new contract. Everyone, flood Trae Young's Twitter and tell him to come on the podcast. Do it.
What do you have? So what are you going to spend it on? So
hey, what's the first thing you bought? Did you buy a car?
It's like, no, actually, I bought a 20,000 square foot youth center in Norman, Oklahoma. What do you got on it?
Must be nice to be that responsible. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I thought about going with Urban Meyer. You know, Alex Grinch told me the story last year or whenever he first came to OU that at practice, Urban Meyer, they've got a guy that's got a loudspeaker and a microphone. And throughout all of practice, like anytime there's one-on-one drills, the guy on the loudspeaker is announcing who the winner is and who the loser is. So like if me and you are doing Oklahoma drill and you pancake me on the Oklahoma drill and you win, on the loudspeaker, the guy will say, Gabe Ikard, winner. Teddy Lehman, loser. And it's on the loudspeaker, and then they keep the tally and post it. It's like when you imagine walking in the Switzer Center and there's this big scoreboard of who the winners and the losers are on the team, and your record is posted up there. And I guess I finally saw a story on it. I don't think anyone ever wrote the story whenever he was doing it in college because everyone's like, oh, that's kind of bad. But he's doing it in Jacksonville again, and he says that he's going to use that someone's record in the winner-loser drill to make his decisions on Final Cut Day. Gabe, you know the anxiety level that you have already trying to get on a football team in the NFL. Can you imagine walking in and seeing your name, loser, being announced on the loudspeaker, loser? It's a level of anxiety that it cannot be good to add that to the situation. It can't. Unless you're a winner. If you're a winner all the time, then it's probably the greatest thing ever. But
yeah, that'll make you feel better. But you already feel like your job is like a play-to-play thing when you're a bottom of the roster guy. It's like one play, you do great. You're like, yes. Another play, maybe it doesn't go so well. You're like, oh, I'm going to get fired. Oh my God. Like you're thinking that type of stuff.
Yeah. And now a guy's announcing it.
Oh God. It gives me anxiety just thinking about it, bro.
I'm surprised they don't have like,
loser.
In golf, how they have like the projected cut line. I'm surprised the guy's not like Lehman, loser, now below the projected cut line for the 53-man roster. It's miserable. But instead of going with that, I went with the U.S. medal count at the Olympics. There's something interesting going on here. We have, at last count, we had 25 gold medals. China had 32 gold medals. But overall, gold, silver, and bronze, I think we had like 75 to China's 69 or something like that. And we're presenting it as if we're winning. That doesn't count, right? It's only gold.
I wonder, like, because you know that clearly the broadcast we're getting is tailor-made to Americans, right?
Right.
So we want to make it look like we're winning. I assume that the Chinese broadcast is emphasizing gold.
Well, that's total. How everyone else, apparently everyone else in the world only looks at the gold. They only tally the gold. That's how the Olympic Committee does it.
That's how it should be.
That's how everyone does it except for the United States.
I mean, like bronze is cool. Silver's nice, but like it's about winning.
I was like, and I'm
when
not
did it
mad
not
at the.
become about winning?
That's right. I'm not mad at the athletes. I'm mad at people putting it up on the board, and here it is. U.S. 75 medals, first place right there. China, just below them, 69 medals. We've got the lead right now, just ahead. Those three bronze that we got in diving were big. Although China won all of the gold medals there, the three bronze that we got were big in the race. We're getting beat. Stop presenting it that it's okay to not have the most gold medals, especially whenever we take like twice as many people there as everyone else.
I need Kornacki and his khakis to roast the U.S. on one of his little graphic board things.
The last one, he was just circling like the final medals or the total medals. Look at that. Got a lead right there over China. No, we don't. We don't. We're losing to China.
We're losing to the Chinese in sports. I know they've got a lot of people, like so many people, but sports is kind of our whole thing. Come on.
Gabe, it's the participation trophy. I mean, it's right there in front of our face. They're doing it to us on national TV.
This is the professional version of the participation trophy.
This is it.
That even made me mad.
And apparently they used to only give a medal to the winner. They gave the winner like a medal and a olive branch or something like that. And then the first time the U.S. hosted, they decided to start giving gold, silver, and bronze. Everyone loved it. They adopted it. But we're the only one that counts it all.
Should only be about the gold, right?
That's it.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine in college football, right? And this is one of my favorite things to watch in the Olympics is how people react when they get the silver medal. Because some people, it's clear, they did not expect the medal. They are so excited. And then there's people that were like the favorite, and you see them put that silver medal on them, and they just look like they want to die.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't stop thinking about like a college football playoff final. The team that loses, like you just go up and put a silver medal around their neck. Like,
well,
here you go.
Unfortunately, we kind of do that by talking about how many college football playoff appearances we have.
Yeah, that's true.
But
to our defense, you and I don't bring that up.
No.
Really, very often.
No. And I guess that's kind of like winning the Olympic trials and being able to go to the Olympics at that point. It's not necessarily celebrating the silver medal. We're making the final. Yeah.
Making the final. Right?
Yeah.
That's a good comparison. I don't know.
Yep.
This whole thing we just did could be really, really stupid, or people could really like it. I don't know. Let us know.
Probably stupid.
5-star review, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you thought it was really stupid or great. Are you looking to buy or sell a house in the OKC metro area? I just used the Ronaldo Cloud Group to sell my old house, and it was so easy and stress-free. Stacia Ronaldo and Maddie Cloud are with Sage Sotheby's International Realty. They believe in prompt communication, an honest relationship, and a luxury service. And that's exactly what they gave me. You can reach them by emailing Stacia at sageshare.com. That's STACIA at SAGEI. Mess that up. Sorry, Stacia. We'll try that again. I've nailed that every time. First time I messed it up. You can email her at STACIA at SAGESIR.com. Or you can contact them on Instagram at @soldbystacia and @soldbymaddie_. You will not regret it. Okay, Ted. For my winner of the week, thought about going with LSU quarterback Max Johnson because he was supposed to be in a QB battle with Miles Brennan down there in Baton Rouge. Well, Miles Brennan just mysteriously broke his arm. Like Coach O just comes out and says, he's having surgery. Arm's just broken. There's been, from what I've seen, no report how he broke his arm, but it required surgery. And all of a sudden, Max Johnson no longer in a quarterback battle. He's just the guy. That seems pretty nice, you know?
He's got the best quarterback name in college football, and take advantage of it.
Max Johnson. NIL dream right there. And I'll say this, Miles Brennan, he's been getting some NIL deals. Like all of a sudden, did those all just go to Johnson? By the way, Max Johnson's Brad Johnson's son.
I know. And all I can think of is the Austin Powers whenever it's like, look at the size of that. And then the Army guy says, Johnson. Yes, sir.
Johnson. God, what a great scene. That's so good. Okay, but my winner of the week, the NFL, it's back, baby. Training camp is going on, and that means we get all the football content, Ted. Training camp fights are back. We all heard about Joe Judge making the Giants run. Somehow Danny Dimes ends up at the bottom of the pile. I don't know how that happens. I mean, you'd think the fight would just stop if the quarterback was in the middle of it.
Video's got to come out at some point of that fight, right?
It's gotta. There's a guy that well, the video crew is so good at deleting fights from the tape. Like, it's hard to find those. One of the veterans, you got to pay one of the video guys. You're like, I know you've got it. Give it to me. Mm-hmm. Shep should do that.
They should. If I was one of the video guys, I'd just video it with my phone, delete it, and sell it to TMZ.
Yeah. I mean, they pay a couple bucks for it. Why not?
They pay good money for those videos, man.
Yeah. But so we had the Giants thing. You've got Dan Campbell saying all kinds of funny stuff at Lions camp. And then he went on about his coffee intake in the morning. Did you see that?
Yep. Venti with a couple of shots in each one.
Just get the bodily functions rolling early, Dan. I see you, buddy.
I absolutely love that guy. I don't know if this experiment's going to work in Detroit, but I love that guy. He's awesome.
He was in New Orleans when I was there, and everybody loved him. He's awesome. But with training camp being back, that means training camp videos on social media are back. Ted, we've got CeeDee Lamb making ridiculous one-hand catches. We've got Trey Lance, who may be the best quarterback of all time with some of the plays that are out there on social media of him flinging that thing around.
I just want you to remember that I had him as my number one quarterback in the draft.
You did. In fact,
no one cares about that, but
is he going to start?
I don't know. Yes. Why not?
Some of those clips, maybe I'm just getting fooled by the social media clips. Some of those throws, I'm like, is he the only guy on planet Earth that can make that throw? Like him?
Are they Tom Bradying you with the jugs machine? Are they sending out some videos like that and you're buying it?
Just tricking me. We had the Ramondre Stevenson clip running over at Patriots training camp. That one was pretty good, but you've also got everyone diagnosing the offensive line, defensive line one-on-one clips. You know, oh my God, this guy sucks, or oh my God, he's the best in the world. How just people think the sky's falling when the offensive linemen get beaten one-on-ones. It's great, but it's just so nice to have that back. We didn't have it last year.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
It's nice.
I didn't even think about that.
The amount of social media chatter when NFL training camp is going on. It's fantastic.
Well, that was training camp everywhere. It was like we hear that they're practicing, but no one even knows for sure, right? It's like it's on lockdown. That's true. Yeah, that's good.
So it's been really fun. I've gone down some rabbit holes of training camp videos, and I have no
Which
regrets.
maybe we can get into this at a later date, but it is an interesting question. Why are college coaches so secretive about their practices?
It's the dumbest thing. I've said it for years. The Dallas Cowboys have open practice during training camp. The Dallas Cowboys.
You know what's crazy? I think definitely the first 2 years, maybe every year when I was at OU, our practices were open in training camp.
I think the majority, and I'll say this. I think it's important for the players to have fans there.
Break up the monotony a little bit.
Well, not even that, to make them feel that sense of pressure.
Yeah.
Like, people are watching. I remember NFL training camp, we did one-on-ones. I didn't want to look like a dumbass in front of all those people. Like, I didn't want to get my ass kicked and for them to be like, oh my God, that kid, the Ikard kid sucks. Like, I didn't want that to happen. So I battled, man. You got to battle.
I may have told you this before. When I was in Jacksonville and Jack Del Rio was there, on the day that we did the Oklahoma drill, they had like stands set up like right around the drill and had all the people, all the fans were in there. They like put who was going to be matched up in the Oklahoma drill in the paper the day before, like for people to come watch the Oklahoma drill.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
I think, well, and not to get on just a tangent, but it's like, we always hear college administrators talk about keeping fans engaged and keeping them renewing their season tickets, and how can we make them feel connected to the program and to the team. That's an easy way to do it. Like,
yep.
Especially the early practices in training camp. You're running all kinds of base stuff. It's no secret. OU's going to run GT counter. Like, it's going to happen. So I don't know why they don't open it up. It makes no sense to me. Okay, but my loser of the week, the University of Texas. I do not know what the purpose of that Senate hearing was this week in Texas, but apparently it just turned into a roast of the Longhorns. Every state senator that got the mic was taking a shot at UT. A senator, this one guy, and I think he was a Tech grad, called them Cousin Eddie. called Texas Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. And it was just like, he thought of that maybe a day, maybe 2 days before. And he's like, I'm going to do it. He told all his buddies, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say they're Cousin Eddie going to the SEC. They're going to ruin everything. I'm going to do it. And then he did it, and he dropped it and didn't get much of a response. I think he was hoping he'd get at least a little bit of a laugh, but nothing. He got nothing, Ted. I was like, didn't land.
That even hurts worse. Here's the thing. We always hear about how much money the University of Texas has and like how big their donor base is. And if the donors there are not making a list of those senators that were taking their shots at Texas and are not fully funding the person they're running against, their campaign, dropping some bombs on their opponent in that campaign fund, holding big fundraisers and everything, then everything they've ever said about the money and their donor base is a lie. Right? Well, that president, can you imagine standing there and taking that?
It didn't look fun.
No.
That picture of Bowlesby behind him is so good. Oh my gosh. But the other state senator, and she must have been a TCU grad, right? She nailed it. I mean, absolutely. She knew what her punchline was going to be. She set it up perfectly. You know, she nailed it. She went with I guess your fan base would just rather lose to Alabama than TCU. Mentioned the record, and she got the record wrong. She said that they were 3-7 against TCU. It was a great burn set up that they'd rather lose to Alabama than TCU. It was perfect execution. But Texas is 2-7 against TCU since they joined the Big 12.
You think she fired the aide that handed her the note with the record on it?
Yes, you have to.
Right.
But I will give her credit. She got a good laugh in the room.
Yeah.
Got a good laugh. Laugh of the day, I'd say.
That was incredibly harsh, man. It was brutal.
Hartzell's just sitting there like, are we done yet? Nope. Okay.
Brutal.
But also, the Big 12 kicked Chris Del Conte off the CFP selection committee on Wednesday. They said, I believe Bob Bowlesby's quote was, I think another one of the athletic directors will represent our interests better. Replace him with Gene Taylor from Kansas State. But just a rough week for the Longhorns. You know, you hate to see it.
Brutal. So when they take, Del Conte's like, he has to be recused anytime they're talking about a Big 12 team anyways, right?
No, I think it's just when they're talking about Texas is when he's recused. Like for the college football.
I thought it was your conference. I could be wrong.
I think it's just your school. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I've never done that mock thing. Doesn't sound very fun to me.
No.
I'm just going to use my eyeballs. Those four look like the best four. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, we knew who the best four was in September.
Yeah. All right. Episode 135 in the books. Reminder, next week we will be off, but there will be 2 episodes for you guys. We'll have an interview with Phil Steele and an interview with Trevor Knight. So hope you all have a great weekend. Hope you all have a great week next week. And we will see you. I don't even know what the date is, but see you, nerds. We'll see you in a week and a half or whatever it is. Hope you all take care. Okay. Until next time, we appreciate you all for listening and do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.